Hello YouTube, I'm back with the next My Little Pony Tales episode review, and today I'm reviewing Happy Birthday Sweetheart. This is an episode you don't really expect, partly because it doesn't start out the way, it doesn't start out with the party itself. It gets right into the ponies are having a swim team. Starlight is obviously not on the list. She's actually the one kind of sort of supervising because she ends up noting that the hardest part was coming up. They end up doing it because they're in some sort of competition, at least practice for the competition. And they end up nailing whatever routine they had planned to do. But Teddy, of course, is like trying to wreck the whole thing, including their practice, and ends up causing them to be disqualified from the actual competition by dressing up as a sea monster. The way I see it, that's kind of unfair. They should have protested against it, saying, "Hey, it was just an act of sabotage by our friend Teddy here," or something. I mean, really, they should not have been disqualified just for that. It wasn't their fault. They didn't dress up as the sea monster. They were doing the routine as scheduled. And it doesn't help that Teddy ends up not only being invited, despite the fact that he's basically wrecked their routine. I would not have invited him. It's like, screw you. You're done. You've done enough already. Nevertheless, I mean, the friends, in some ways, they end up making Sweetheart choose again between the rest of them and Teddy, which is kind of harsh but still understandable, considering the fact that, obviously, as I said before, Teddy wrecked their entire competition. I wouldn't have invited him. I would have just said, no, you're not coming, and maybe, or under the circumstance that you do come, you are to behave, or you're out. Of course, Lancer ends up coming up with a somewhat, probably not the way I would have gone about it. He makes the party on board his father's boat and basically traps them on board, saying, okay, now you gotta sign a peace treaty. I would say don't invite Teddy, period. Then you don't have to worry about that. You can have the party wherever you want, and it's actually a whole lot better. Besides, Teddy kind of deserved it after what he did. So they end up, Sweetheart ends up understandably calling off the party before the treaty is signed. I mean, it's her party. I mean, why would you want to have a party with everyone arguing? It's not really a party at all. Of course, this again goes back to don't invite Teddy. Then they could have had the party without him. You probably would have had to wreck it anyway, but then you could have... Or you could have invited him and then, made sure to, secure the area, make sure he doesn't get away with anything. But I think just not inviting him in general would have been the way to go. I mean, they eventually had the party anyway, and it ends up being a total success, but... Understandably, I can understand where Sweetheart's coming from. I probably would not have had the party either if my friends were not even having a good time. What's the point? And if she's not having a good time, especially. I mean... But again, I'm not inviting people that are... Or ponies in this case, that are totally not worthy of inviting, like Teddy. I mean, yeah, you could argue, oh, but that would be unfair to him. It's like, is it really fair that he's the one to invite the character that sabotaged an entire competition, as well as the practice? I mean, come on here. There's really no reason to invite him at all. But it's not a bad episode. I mean, I understand where Sweetheart is coming from. They did get it resolved. I mean, it was probably not the way I would have done it, but I guess it's an interesting way of going about solving the issue. And it worked. I don't think it would work in reality, though. I think they would probably be still angry, the entire time. So that's my review on this episode.